we just started the car back up so we can pull it into the garage. You can see how the RPM's just all over the place. It really sounds, sorry the focus is all out of whack. It really sounds like it's running on half the cylinders, so I bet we're not getting communication from one of the ECMs. That's our guess. So we're gonna have the 2006 Volkswagen Touareg V10 TDI in the garage. A couple things we got planned to do is, I was thinking, number one, we got to replace the batteries. They won't hold the charge at all. It doesn't even really take a charge. I'll leave it on a 10 amp charge all night and still be just as dead in the morning. So we basically jump started to get it to run. So we're gonna pull the old batteries out, take them both in, and see if we can get some new ones. Of course, you got to pull that driver's seat to get the front one out. So we pulled it into the garage. Before I do that though, I was thinking this came with a Malone tuning software updater tuner thing, and it made me think they must have a custom tune on this, and that's why my check engine light doesn't come on for the turbo or any of the other issues that we're seeing. So I was going to try to restore the original file. Fortunately, I just got this error. Please try again. So let's try it one more time. Right file. We'll do the original file. Confirm original. Okay. So what we're thinking is at least eliminate the possibility. Okay, ignition switch is on. Turn, press yes. So we figure at least we'd eliminate the possibility of that interfering with our troubleshooting. So get it back to factory programming, and then my plan is to pull off the passenger front wheel, pull off the wheel well liner, and see if we can inspect that turbo, make sure that rod's connected for it and the cables are connected right. Try to just get a good inspection on it before we go too far into this. And then depending on how this, well, now we're saying it does not find the ECU. Might be my battery's too dead. All right, let's try this again. I'm gonna turn it off, and then we're gonna change hands here. We're gonna go to right file. Yes, original, yes, yes. So once we get the original file, let's turn the ignition on. Ignition's on. But I think the battery's dead because my display is not coming up. Hit enter. So once we get the original file, then I can see if I can do some programming or troubleshooting with that turbo controller. But at this point, it looks like we're not even able to do that. We might have to wait till we get the new batteries, because we should have a display up there showing that the hood's open, two front doors are open. So this will be interesting. We'll see what this does. So yeah, we got the ECU not found, checking the cables and connections. So I'm hoping it's just a battery issue, that it didn't kind of have a failure there while it was doing the update. But we'll get, I'm gonna try to start it. At least we can try to start it now. Yeah, the battery's dead. So, all right, we won't even mess with it. We'll leave the charger on at 10 amps, and we'll go ahead. I gotta go to work here in about 30 minutes, so we probably won't start it today. But we'll go ahead and get the batteries pulled out, so when we go into town, we can get 2 new batteries for this and continue the troubleshooting. All right, so I'm back down at the shop, and got the battery charger on there so we can move the seats. We tried to reinstall the original tune or file from the tuner that came with the car, but halfway through it aborted, and I believe it's due to the battery issue. This does have, I did have the battery charger on at a 10 amp rate,
still killed it. And then we thought we might have ruined the computer because the windows wouldn't roll up, nothing would roll up. The dash info center went blank, sorry, and worried us. So we went ahead and just shut it down, left the charger on there for a little bit, and then a couple hours later put it on jump start. We were able to start the car, so we verified that's working. The glow plug light is flashing, which I'm thinking it probably has been a problem, just the tune covered it up. So that'll be something we'll have to look into. And then we were able to roll up the windows, so everything's working. We're not going to try to do restore the tune until we replace the battery. So that's what we're going to do this morning before work. Is I'm going to pull out the back battery, the front battery, and that way I can take it into town and see if anybody's got some. Maybe if we have time, we'll jack up the front and pull this passenger front wheel off and the wheel well liner. Take a look at that turbo. All right, let's get started. So what we want to do, what I recommend doing first, releasing your trunk lid before you disconnect your battery, so you're not struggling through the back seat. So we got the rear deck lid open, and then also what I did is I raised the seat up in the high position. I don't know if it's gonna matter on the Volkswagen, it's the first time doing it, and then I adjusted the seat forward and aft to make sure I had access. This cover will pull off. You can see there's some clips on the side, clips on the top, and then you'll pop this clip up, and here's your first screw mount or seat mount. There's another one over there, so I know I can get to those. So I'm gonna pull the battery out of the trunk first. I already got my spare tire removed. So once you remove the spare tire, you're gonna see the battery cover strapped down. I think they actually did a pretty good job with this. So it's 2 number 10s, one here, one there. We'll pull those out, and then we should be able to lift the cover back and have access to the battery. Have my battery box cover set off to the side. I just carefully tuck these 2 straps back so there's no chance they could arc or spark. So looks like it's a number 10. Yep. My battery charger, I disconnected it, so we're not connected there. Pull that off, and see if there's something else holding it on. Yep, so we must have a clamp. Okay, so we can see there's a nut right down there. Looks like maybe another number 10, clamping the battery down, so let's get that out. All right, so we got the battery out. Once you take that one nut out, you'll see that plate there, and then there's a lip on the back. So you kind of want to wiggle it back and forth. It'll loosen off. You can't lift up on this side. You gotta lift up on the passenger side first. If you're facing the trunk, it'd be the right side. And then she just pulls out. There is a vent tube you'll want to disconnect. That's this one here. These are vented outside, and it connects right into there. So this is the battery that's in it. 900 cranking amps, so that's correct. I believe the trunk battery is 900 cold cranking amps, and the one underneath the seat is a 950, supposed to be a 950 cold cranking amps. So we'll see what that one is. The date on this one, November 2017, so it's 5 years. 5 years. All right, I'll get this out of here, close up the hatch, and we'll start taking off the seat. We got the front 2 triple square bolts out of the front seat. We did not have to take the ones out of the back. Volkswagen made it to where they swivel. The seat's got a little swivel point on each side, so you don't have to mess with the ones in the back. So once you remove the ones in the front, just tilt the seat back. It was a number 10 triple square bit.
So once you get the seat tilted back, there's 4 of these clips on each corner, one here, one back there. Once you do that, this should slide right off and you'll see your battery. So this one is not vented to the outside. I thought they had to be. Maybe the box itself is vented. I'll have to take a look. So same thing, we got 2 bolts, 2 nuts, number 10 nuts to loosen off your battery posts. And it looks like right here is the bolt that holds the battery hold down in. And one back there. Looks like there's 2. Right down there in the center, right here in the corner. So I'll get those pulled out, disconnect your cables, and see if we can get this battery out. Ran out of storage on the iPhone, so I'm not sure where I left off, but like I said, I believe I was talking about what I noticed is this, the front left outside bolt. My triple square bit did not want to get in there, seated in nicely. So I'm guessing whoever changed the batteries back in 2017 either used the wrong tool, probably used maybe a Torx bit, or just not the right size, or didn't have it seated. So what I just did is I put it on my Torx bit, or my triple square bit, right into there straight where it felt like it was lined up somewhat, and then just used a small hammer, tapped it in, and it locked right in. So just be mindful if it doesn't feel like it's going in all the way, make sure it's not full of crud, dirt, and then kind of tap it in because they might have damaged the thread. So just be careful that you're lined up when you do that. So, all right, let's get this battery out. All right, so I got the battery out. Came out easy. What I did is just lift it up on the front handle because it really needs to come out at an angle anyways, and then pull it forward. So it's a number 10 here for that corner bracket, which is right there. And this is the side clamp, and it's also a number 10. So you just pull it right out to number 10, or number 10, and battery's out. Okay, so I got both batteries out. I tested the voltage with it all out of the car. The back trunk battery is this one. It was at 10.6 volts. So I'm putting it on the charger. Once I get it fully charged, I will let it sit, see if she drains it. This is the battery underneath the driver's seat. This one was at 6.9 volts, I believe, 6.7. So it's obviously the lower of the two. And I'll put the charger on that one just to see, you know, what I like to do is just put a charger on and get a full charge, then watch it for 1 or 2 days and see if it loses the charge. Kind of easy way to do a basic test. I'm still going to replace them. They're 5 years old. Obviously they weren't starting, but yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, so we got this seat battery that was underneath the seat on the charger, and I'm sitting here talking to the boys, and we can hear it bubbling inside, making some weird sounds. So I had them put the voltmeter on it with a 10 amp charge going to it. It's been on here for about an hour. 10 amp charge, we got 12.1516 voltage. I'm gonna have Luke unplug the charger now, and you see how quick this voltage drops. Go for it. So we're already down at 10.5 volts. We can still hear the battery kind of bubbling. It's like whistling. So I don't think I want to keep this battery plugged in overnight. The one in the back, go ahead and test the voltage on the one in the back. When I took off the charger, it was at 12.5 volts. So it's down to 10.8. So neither of them. My charger showed the one in that second one as being fully charged. Took the voltmeter off, it showed 12.5 volts, and we're already down to 10.8. So I'd say both batteries are no good. So yeah, we'll hopefully maybe try to get in there and get some tomorrow. They're AGM, like I said, supposed to be a different battery for under the seat, a little bigger, and a little smaller one for the one in the back, according to the specs I read. The boys pulled the wheel off, got it there, and the wheel liner, which is out there. So we're hoping we get a better view of the turbo, but it's still pretty cramped. You got your frame rail right there. You might be able to sneak in underneath there. Got a bunch of disconnected connections. here. Just guessing that's part of the, when they strip the air suspension off. But just, I guess it's okay because we're gonna replace the air suspension eventually. All our air lines are intact, so that's good. So basically just gotta buy 4 new struts and an air tank in the rear. But before we do that, we want to see what we can do with this turbo. And before we drop the engine to look at the turbo, we're hoping that might give us more room here. Something interesting, here's our intercooler for the passenger side. It's crazy how dirty it gets. I'm sure it's really cooling the air well. So we'll probably play with that. Leave the fender liner off even if we get it figured out, so we can clean that out. Maybe do the same thing to the other side if we get it running before we pull the motor. If we end up having to pull the motor, that will probably all be coming off anyways, and then we'll give it a proper cleaning. There's our windshield washer tank tucked in over there. We definitely used every inch of space on these cars. There's the coil spring conversion. All right, so I'm just gonna dig around here and see if I can get any angles to reach up and touch that turbo. All right, I'm gonna see if this turns out. There's my turbo. And if you follow that black rod down, it's right there. It goes onto that electric actuator pin right there. I took the clip off so I can move the rod. The rod moves freely. That actuator doesn't move at all, which could just because of the electrical circuits keeping it stationary. We did verify the rod's in place and the rod is not bound up. So those are 2 things I read that we needed to check. So I'll put this rod back on. Then I'm going to try to get over and reseat that electrical connection there. And then once we get the new batteries, we will see what codes we get, if it behaves different with the original tune or original file, and then also see if we can trigger some kind of a adaptation or relearn of the turbo. So, all right, so we got our 2 new batteries. The stock was pretty low in town, so ended up picking these up at AutoZone. Got off work a little bit ago, so this evening I'm going to try to get these batteries in here so we can get this Touareg moved out. We got day after tomorrow, we got somebody coming over to purchase that motor, so we got to be able to get the engine over here on the hoist so they can back in and we can load it up. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to do the one underneath the driver's seat first, and then we'll move back to the back. Okay, so we got the battery in. Your positive post, let's see if it'll pick it up. It doesn't pick it up, but the positive post goes towards the rear and your negative is up towards the front. You got this corner bracket to put in, and then your bracket down there. Both number 10s. So we'll go ahead and pull the protective caps off the posts, attach the cables, and get the rear one installed. Okay, we got the battery in, clamped down, getting ready to put the cover back on. We'll slide that on, and there's 4 corner clips. Let's lock it down. This little piece on the back is for your ducting, so make sure that's seated in there right, and then we'll bolt the seat back down. All right, I got the battery in the trunk installed. I got the negative cable connected, waiting on the positive. There's just the one clamp on the one right side of the battery. Clamps it down. Number 10 wrench socket works on that with the deep or long extensions. So we'll attach the positive cable, and then this battery cover sits over top of that, and then those other 2 nuts right there will you use to hold the straps that go over to the battery cover. Here's your red one, and it will connect to this hole right here. So we'll just take it, it slides right in. Like that, and it vents down to the bottom and outside. The one underneath the driver's seat did not have a vent hose. There was a hose or a hole in the bottom of the battery box. So I'm gonna do some research and see if it's supposed to have one. If so, then we'll find one and put it on there. We'll go ahead and put the cover on, strap it in. All right, so we got our battery box strapped back down. What I found it easiest is take the 2 screws here out, or nuts, pull the clamps out, attach them to the box, then just slide the whole thing down and put your nuts on with my wrench. And then we snugged them down, so we're gonna see if she'll start. So I don't know if this has to be programmed or battery reset. We're just gonna go ahead and try running it as is. Yep, so we don't have anything. There we go. I'm not sure why my glow plug light's flashing, but she started. No check engine lights. Battery voltage. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. We're at 14, just over 14, so our alternator is working. And it's running. Engine faults, workshop. Guess that's my check engine light, or the biggest one I've ever seen. All right, so it's the next day after we replaced the batteries and we ran it. We got the tune removed and supposedly the factory file back on, and it runs like crap. The idle is high, it fluctuates a lot, has no power, and smokes terribly. Just pulling it out of the shop, I got a little speed bump type right in front of the door, and as soon as I went to push the throttle, it dies. So it's constantly dying if it gets on any kind of load. Turn the key off, turn it back on, and it starts up, but no power, lots of smoke, and we got some new codes. We don't have the turbo communication code anymore. Now we have, I'll put it up on the video, but something to do with the bus communication. I think there's actually some communication errors going on between the 2 ECMs and maybe some other stuff. So I think that was hiding some problems. Hopefully we can diagnose it, but we left it on overnight, or left it in the garage overnight with new batteries, and our voltage is already, I just checked it, the voltage is down to 12.2. And from what I was reading last night, the same thing that could be causing communication issue between the ECMs could be causing the battery drain. So plan is to start it, pull it out of the garage. I got somebody coming over tomorrow to pick up one of my motors. He's going to be buying it, so I need to move this out of the way so I can get my engine hoist set up and have it ready to be loaded tomorrow. Once the engine's gone, we're going to pull this car back in and go through it and do a good electrical inspection, see if we can find any damaged wires, corrosion, water damage, rodent damage. Who knows? This was in New Mexico, then it was in San Jose, and then now it's over here. So we'll do a good thorough inspection, see what we can find. Hopefully we can identify an electrical issue and it's not a bad ECM. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and start it, and then we're just gonna check the voltage real quick. It starts up terrible too. So before, it would actually sound decent when it started up. This one sounds like it's really trying to struggle. But let's go and see what the voltage is. It even sounds louder than it did before. That's kind of weird. It's got low voltage coming up here. Both lights were flickering too. Alright, so we're seeing the headlights flicker. Another indication of electrical problems. Looks like the voltage is reading right now. We're at 13.5 volts. We're smoking up pretty good already. Can't really tell on camera, but we'll go ahead and pull it out of the garage so we can see the passenger side exhaust smoking a lot more. It's hard to get on camera, but then we're seeing all the soot. It's getting blown out of it. Not seeing it so much on that side. Colder? So definitely something going on. I bet we're only running on 5 cylinders. So the exhaust coming out of this side is warm, or actually, yeah, fairly warm. The exhaust on this side is actually cool. Never felt that before. You can feel the air pressure, but it's actually like a cool breeze. Very strange. Okay, you can see how much it's smoking right here. It's interesting that it's smoking just out of the passenger side tailpipe for the most part. That little hump getting out of my garage doesn't have enough torque to get over that, or no power. So I actually pull forward a little bit and get a running start at it. When I press on the throttle, it does not accelerate. You have to hold it down for a while in neutral or park, and then sometimes it'll rev up to 1200 RPMs. But then I hit the front tires, hit the hump, got to pull forward again, get a little running start at it. But yeah, you can see definitely not running very well. I think that tune that they had installed on there was definitely hiding quite a bit of problems. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see if we can figure out what exactly is going on with this Touareg.